I can remember back in my high school days when my immaturity was in full force, and I simply had become fed up with institutions, with school, and with authority. I just couldn't stand all the rules. I mean, things like the fact that I needed a hall pass to go to the restroom always just bugged the heck out of me. More troubling, though, was that academically I had taken a severe nosedive. My grades had fallen, I ditched nearly every day, and homework was out of the question for me. Fortunately, pushed by my parents and some of my teachers, I applied to a few colleges and I got into CSUN. Shortly after I received my acceptance, I received a painful, albeit much needed reality check. My dad was hit by a car, and I rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. Nothing could be done. He had suffered severe and irreparable brain damage. He entered a vegetative state, and he remained that way for 2 years, until his passing during my sophomore year here at school. In an instant, my world had been turned upside down. I was shocked, I was scared, and I was heartbroken. Slowly, I eased back into reality, but I kept envisioning him as I'd always seen him throughout my life. Working, sweating, in pain, telling me to take advantage of the opportunities that he was working so hard to give me. You see, my dad was a naturally intelligent man, but he was born as an orphan and progressed to an alcoholic. And through my dad's tragedies, he came to understand the value of all of the opportunities that he had never had. And for the first time, I was beginning to see these values. And it was at this point in my life that I decided that I would give education and this whole college thing a shot. It didn't turn out to be as easy as I thought, though. I still needed to mature quite a bit more and to shake a few bad habits. Reaching this level of maturity took quite some time, especially given my disdain for being controlled. Living on my own for the first time, I enjoyed being able to do as I pleased, but I probably enjoyed it a little bit too much, as partying and drinking began taking increasingly bigger roles within my life. And before I knew it, the situation had become serious. While inside I remained just as dedicated to my studies and to caring for my convalescent father, I still continued to push the boundaries of my freedoms, and I was beginning to feel stretched thin. Something needed to be done, and it was now necessary for me to evaluate all that was going on and in turn to evaluate myself. In doing so, I realized that how I was living simply did not coincide with my priorities, and that I needed to remove myself from the negative environments that I had put myself in and rededicate myself to my studies, not only for my sake, but also for the sake of my father's memory. Acknowledging that a change was needed, I continued in my self-evaluation in order to understand how I should now move forward. Eventually, I came to a deeper understanding of what all these freedoms around me truly meant. I realized that all the controls that my parents and my teachers had had over me were now lifted for one simple yet empowering reason. I was in control. I was in control of every aspect of my life. I could go to class when I pleased, and I could not go to class when I pleased, and I could also party until the sun came up every night. But there was more to it than that. I realized that I was in control of setting my developmental path. I was in control of determining where that path would take me, and in turn I was in control of determining my future. I now recognize that time in my life as the pivotal juncture that it truly was. And it was at this point that I decided that I would really dedicate myself to my studies.